Morning children. Today I am going to start the class 7th standard. Subject is English and the topic is A Tiger in the House. The author of this lesson is Ruskin Bond. Now this entire story is narrated by the Ruskin Bond's grandfather. Here wonder what happens when Ruskin Bond, the author's grandfather, was going in the forest. What happens? He sees a tiger cub. What is tiger? Tiger is a national animal and it is also a wild animal. Once when grandfather was going in Tehra jungle in Dehradun, what happens? He sees the cub of a tiger. It was so beautiful and it was so cute to look. What did he do? He brought the tiger cub to the house. When he brought to the house, there was a cook by name Mahmud. He used to feed him milk in the bottle, and day after day they used to give him the raw mutton. To whom? The tiger. And he was named Timothy. Who named him as Timothy? The author's grandmother named the tiger cub as Timothy. Along with Timothy, there were two companions. Two companions is other two animals. They were Toto, the monkey, and the baby of the dog, that is Puppy. These three also lived together very happily. They were very friendly. But when the days were going on, and when the Timothy, the tiger, was growing up, he used to eat the mutton, the livers, everything he used to consume. And whatever the food was given by Mahmud was not enough to him as he was growing. When he was small, he used to mingle with everyone and he used to be friendly with everyone. Who? Timothy, the tiger. When the days went on, when he grew up, he was very disturbed and he would not be attached with anyone. As he was growing up, the people around him was very afraid when he used to go on the road by the walk. Then one day, when Mahmud went to give the food, when he went to feed the tiger Timothy, at once he attacked Mahmud. Seeing this, what grandfather he did, he thought an idea that the Timothy is not fit for the house to be here now. He is very dangerous to the people and he may harm anyone. So what did grandfather did? He put him in the Lucknow Zoo. And the Lucknow Zoo authorities, they wanted the civil tigers like Timothy. So they adopted him and they kept in the zoo. After some days, when grandfather went to the zoo to meet Timothy, when he went to the cage, he saw the tiger was sitting, and when he put his hands into the cage, the tiger started licking his hands. Licking in sense, putting the tongue out and started licking it. We'll see now when we eat the ice cream. So in such a way, the tiger was licking his hand. Whose hand? The grandfather's hand. When he was licking the hand, the tiger, at once the leopard came there. When the leopard came there, at once the tiger was very afraid to see him. At once, what the grandfather did, he called the authority of the zoo and he said, "Why have you kept the tiger and leopard together? Seeing that leopard, the tiger is very afraid. Why are you keeping my Timothy along with the leopard?" Then the zoo authority says him that the Timothy, the tiger which you have given to the Lucknow Zoo, had died 6 months before to the disease known as pneumonia. When the grandfather heard this news that Timothy is no more now and he has died 6 months back due to the disease pneumonia, he was very much sad, and again he went to the same cage, and when he went to the cage, the tiger started licking his hand. Again, what did he do? He removed his hand and he saw at the authority of the zoo and he went away saying, "Goodbye, Timothy." Yes, after this lesson you have to write the notes. Thank you. Okay.
ಶುಭೋದಯ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ, 7ನೇ ತರಗತಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. 6ನೇ ತರಗತಿ ಮುಗಿಸಿ 7ನೇ ತರಗತಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಈಗ ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪಾಠ ಯಾವುದು? ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ನಿತ್ಯ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಉತ್ಸವ. ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಉತ್ಸವ. ಉತ್ಸವ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ನಿತ್ಯ ನಡೆಯುವ ಮಂಗಳ ಕಾರ್ಯ, ಹಬ್ಬ ಹರಿದಿನಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಸವ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ KS ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ರವರು ಈ ಕವಿತೆ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕನ್ನಡದ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಕವಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಇವರು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ದೇವನಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ 15, 1926ರಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಿಸಿದರು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ KS ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನ ಸೊಬಗಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಸೌಂದರ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಣಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು ಬೆಟ್ಟಗಳು, ಗುಡ್ಡಗಳು, ಪರ್ವತಗಳು, ಅರಣ್ಯಗಳು, ನದಿ, ಗಿರಿಗಳು, ವನಗಳಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳುಕಾಡುತ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ನಾಡು. ಇಂತಹ ನಾಡಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಉತ್ಸವವಿದೆ, ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಉತ್ಸವ ಇದೆ. ಅಂತಹ ಉತ್ಸವವನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಅವರು ಈ ಕವಿತೆ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಜೋಗದ ಸಿರಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿಯ ಲೋಹದಿದಿರ ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣ ವನದ ತೇಗ ಗಂಧ ತರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕವಿಗಳು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಜೋಗದ ಸಿರಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಜೋಗ ಜಲಪಾತ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಿಂದ ಕಂಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಬೆಳಕನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಣ್ಣು ತುಂಬಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂತಹ ಜೋಗ ಜಲಪಾತವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ತುಂಗೆಯಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಹಚ್ಚ ಹಸುರಿನಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳುಕುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕುತ್ತಿರುವಂತೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ತೆನೆಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿಯ ಲೋಹದಿದ್ದಿರ ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿಯ ಖನಿಜಗಳು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋಹಗಳು, ಅದಿರುಗಳು, ಖನಿಜಗಳು ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣವನದ, ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣದ ಕಾಡುಗಳಿವೆ, ತೇಗಗಡಿ, ಗಂಧದ ಮರಗಳು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಎಲ್ಲವುಗಳಿಂದಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪರ್ವತಗಳು, ಗುಡ್ಡಗಳು, ನದಿಗಳು, ವನಗಳು, ಲೋಹ, ಅದಿರು ಎಲ್ಲವುದರಿಂದ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು ತುಂಬಿ ತುಳುಕ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಹಿಮದಲ್ಲಿನ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಮಾಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗತ ಸಾಹಸ ಸಾರುತ್ತಿರುವ ಶಾಸನಗಳ ಸಾಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಓಲೆಗರೆಯ ಸಿರಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಗುಲಗಳ ಭಿತ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಹಿಮದಲ್ಲಿನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು ಅನೇಕ ರಾಜವಂಶಗಳಂತ ಕಂಡಂತಹ ನಾಡು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕದಂಬರು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೊಯ್ಸಳರು, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕೂಟರು, ಚೇಳರು ಮುಂತಾದ ಅರಸು ಮನೆತನಗಳು ಆಳಿ ಹೋದಂತಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು. ಇಂತಹ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಮಾಲೆಯನ್ನೇ ನಾವು, ರಾಜರುಗಳ ಹೆಸರುಗಳ ಮಾಲೆಯನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಬಹುದು. ಅಂತಹ ವೀರರನ್ನು, ಶೂರರನ್ನು ಕಂಡಂತಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿದು. ಈ ಗತ ಸಾಹಸ ಸಾರುತ್ತಿರುವ ಶಾಸನಗಳ ಸಾಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ತರಹದಂತಹ ಶಾಸನಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ? ರಾಜರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅವರ ಪರಾಕ್ರಮದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಶತ್ರುಗಳನ್ನು ಹಿಮ್ಮೆಟ್ಟಿಸಿದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಸನಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇವೆ. ಓಲೆಗರೆಯ ಸಿರಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಗುಲಗಳ ಭಿತ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಲೂರು, ಹಳೇಬೀಡು ಮುಂತಾದ ಅನೇಕ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆತ್ತನೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಹ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಮೆರುಗನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಅವರು ಈ ಕವಿತೆ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಲವೆನ್ನದ ಹಿರಿಮೆಯೇ, ಕುಲವೆನ್ನದ ಗಿರಿಮೆಯೇ, ಸದ್ವಿಕಾಸಶೀಲ ನುಡಿಯ ಲೋಕಾಮೃತ ಸೀಮೆಯೇ, ಈ ವತ್ಸರ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರ ಮನದುದಾರ ಮಹಿಮೆಯೇ, ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಹಲವೆನ್ನದ ಹಿರಿಮೆಯೇ, ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು, ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಲವಾರು ಧರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನು, ಭಾಷೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕಂಡಂತಹ ನಾಡಿದು. ಆದರೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇದಗಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಲವರು ಅನ್ನೋಂತಹ ಭೇದ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರು ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರು, ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಷೆಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಧರ್ಮದವರಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಹಲವೆನ್ನದ ಹಿರಿಮೆಯು ನಮಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕುಲವೆನ್ನದ ಗರಿಮೆಯೇ, ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಕುಲ ಇದೆನಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಿಂದೂಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕ್ರೈಸ್ತರು, ಬೌದ್ಧರು, ಜೈನರು, ಹಲವಾರು ಮತಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಆದರೂ ಕುಲವೆನ್ನದ ಗರಿಮೆ, ಹಿರಿಮೆ, ಗರಿಮೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಲ್ಲುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸದ್ವಿಕಾಸಶೀಲ ನುಡಿ, ಎಂತಹ ಶೀಲ ನುಡಿ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಸದ್ವಿಕಾಸ, ಸತ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ವಿಕಾಸ, ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಶೀಲ ನುಡಿ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಗುಣವಂತರು ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನ ಜನರು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಲೋಕಾಮೃತ ಸೀಮೆಯೇ, ಈ ವತ್ಸರ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರ ಮನದುದಾರ ಮಹಿಮೆಯೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ಸರ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರದವರು ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನ ಜನರು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಉತ್ಸವ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಸಾರ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಅವರು ಈ ಕವಿತೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. प्रिय बच्चे, कक्षा 7 के लिए आपका सुस्वागत है। ओके, टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा है ना घर में, नहीं है ना? ओके, अब हम सीखेंगे पार्ट फर्स्ट। पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है, पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। ओके, क्या पढ़ना है? पुस्तक पढ़ना है। ओके, पढ़ने का महत्व के बारे में इस कविता में कवि चंद्रपाल सिंह यादव ने सिखाया है, हमको समझाया है। अब हम देखेंगे पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है कविता। ओके, इधर चंद्रपाल सिंह यादव आधुनिक हिंदी साहित्य के विख्यात कवि है। इनका जन्म नवंबर 1925 को उत्तर प्रदेश को कानपुर में हुआ। ओके, पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है, हमको ऊपर चढ़ना है, थोड़े दिन की बात और है, जमकर खूब पढ़ेंगे हम, इम्तिहान में ताल ठोक कर कुश्ती खूब लड़ेंगे हम, पास इम्तिहान करना है, पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। इधर पढ़ने का महत्व के बारे में चंद्रपाल सिंह यादव ने हमको समझाया है। पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है, हमको ऊपर चढ़ना है। हम क्यों पढ़ना चाहिए? ऊपर चढ़ने के लिए हम पढ़ना चाहिए। थोड़े दिन की बात और है, जमकर खूब पढ़ेंगे हम। क्यों, कैसे पढ़ना चाहिए? जमकर। जमकर मीन्स क्या है? दृढ़ता से। कैसे कैसे पढ़ना चाहिए? दृढ़ता से हम पढ़ना चाहिए। जमकर खूब पढ़ेंगे हम, इम्तिहान में ताल ठोक। इम्तिहान मीन्स परीक्षा। क्या है? परीक्षा। इम्तिहान में पास करने के लिए ताल ठोक कर कुश्ती खूब लड़ेंगे हम। ताल ठोक कर क्या मीन्स क्या है? पढ़ने के लिए हम तैयार होना चाहिए। पास करने के लिए, परीक्षा पास करने के लिए हम तैयार होना चाहिए। कुश्ती खूब लड़ेंगे हम बहुत दृढ़ता से पढ़कर कुश्ती खूब इस कुश्ती खूब हम लड़ सकते हैं। पास इम्तिहान करना है, पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। हम क्यों पढ़ना चाहिए? इम्तिहान पास करने के लिए, परीक्षा पास करने के लिए हम पढ़ना चाहिए, परिश्रम करना चाहिए। मेहनत करने से हम ऊपर चढ़ सकते हैं। फिर गर्मी की छुट्टी होगी, होंगे मौज मस्ती के दिन, पिक्चर होगी, पिकनिक होगी, होंगे तब मस्ती के दिन, मेहनत से क्या डरना है, पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। पढ़ने समय पढ़ना चाहिए, खेलने समय खेलना चाहिए। इधर पढ़ने समय पढ़ने में ध्यान रखना चाहिए। आपको खेलने के लिए फिर गर्मी की छुट्टी होगी, मौज मस्ती करने के लिए समय मिलेगा। कब मिलेगा? छुट्टी में मिलेगा। आप छुट्टियों की राजा बनेगा। फिर गर्मी की छुट्टी होगी, अतः मौज कर सकते हैं, मौज कर सकते हैं, पिक्चर जा सकते हैं, पिकनिक जा सकते हैं। ऐसे कवि होंगे तब मस्ती के दिन, मेहनत से क्या डरना है? मेहनत करने वालों को डरना आवश्यक नहीं है। ओके, मेहनत करने वालों, मेहनत करने से क्या डरना है? पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। पापा मम्मी से लेने हैं फिर तो हमको खूब इनाम, मेहनत करने वालों की तो सदा मदद करते भगवान, जीवन पथ पर बढ़ना है, पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। पापा मम्मी से क्या क्या लेना है? पुरस्कार लेना चाहिए, इनाम लेना चाहिए। हम अच्छे ढंग से पढ़ने से हमको माता पिता आशीर्वाद देते हैं। मेहनत करने वालों को सदा भगवान भी हमको मदद करते हैं। बिना पढ़े आप फर्स्ट रैंक ला सकते हैं, परीक्षा लिख सकते हैं? नहीं, है ना? वैसे मेहनत करने वालों को सदा कौन मदद करता है? भगवान भी हमको मदद करता है। जीवन पथ पर बढ़ना है। पढ़ने का महत्व क्या है? हम जीवन पथ पर बढ़ना चाहिए। जीवन पथ पर बढ़ना इतना आसान है? आसान की बात है? नहीं है। इसलिए जीवन पथ पर बढ़ने के लिए हम आगे बढ़ने के लिए, हमारे देश को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हम मेहनत करना चाहिए, पढ़ने में ध्यान रखना चाहिए। पढ़ना है जी, पढ़ना है। इस कविता के द्वारा चंद्रपाल सिंह यादव ने पढ़ने का महत्व के बारे में इधर समझाया है।
Good morning, children. Today I am going to take the class of 7th standard. The subject is social studies and the topic one is Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, where is the Vijayanagar Empire? It is at Hampi, as we know. So it was founded in the year 13th century on the southern bank of the Tungabhadra, and Hampi was its capital. And who was the king? Who was the famous king of the kingdom? Krishnadeva Raya. And Harihara and Bukkaraya were the founder of this dynasty. And in this we are going to see the important dynasty of this Vijayanagar Empire. See here, the first is Sangama dynasty. Sangama dynasty, and in this Sangama dynasty, the famous king was Devaraya II, and he was a very religious tolerance, and he gave opportunity to each and every religions to follow their own culture. Next, we come across the Salwa dynasty, and the famous king was Salwa Narsimha. And third dynasty, that is Tulwa dynasty, in that the famous king was Veera Narasimha. And third Tulwa dynasty, and the famous king was Veera Narasimha. And now we come across the Rakasa Tangadi pattern, which was started in the year 1565 century, and the date was 23rd January. This war was between the sultans and the Vijayanagar army. What happened in this war? The sultan looted Vijayanagar. The sultan looted Vijayanagar, and they fully looted and they conquered that, and the kings of that Vijayanagar empire at that time, they escaped from there and they went to the other place, and sultan started to rule, and they looted everything whatever in the Rakasa Tangadi battle. And next we come across the cultural contribution of Vijayanagar Empire. In this we are going to see that first is administration. In administration, what was there? 1/6 of revenue tax was collected from the land. Their major administration was the tax. And second, we come across the social status. In this becomes child marriage, sati system. And Deepavali and Dasara was grandly celebrated in this empire. And next we come across the economic status. In economic status, agriculture was their main occupation, and the crops, some of the crops were rice, ragi, sugarcane, cotton, etc. And next we come across the religious harmony. In this religious harmony, in Vijayanagar Empire, what they used to do? They used to leave each and everyone to follow their own caste and religions, and the culture, whatever they have to follow on their own. There were no restrictions about the casteism. They kept free to each and every to follow their own religion, and they gave opportunity to each and everyone to do their own. And next it comes across the art and sculpture. This art and sculpture you can see in Hampi. Some of the pictures I am going to show you here. See here, the Ajara Ramaswamy temple was in Hampi. See here, children. And next, Vidya Shankara temple in Sringeri. This Ganapati in Hampi, and idols of Narasimha in Hampi, the stone chariot of Hampi. And whenever you get time, if you go to Hampi, you can see all the art and sculpture there. Okay, children, after this lesson, you have to write the notes. Thank you.
Good morning, students. Myself Prema, and today I am going to start your first chapter of 7th standard, that is nutrition in plants. Before going to know how the nutrition process takes place in plants, let us define the term nutrition. Nutrition is a mode of taking food by the organism, and its utilization by our body is called as nutrition. And there are many components which are present in the food. Those components are called as nutrients of the food. Okay. Now, how the nutrition process taking place in plants? How the plants prepare their food? Let us see. Okay. The main part of the plant that is which is required for the making of food, that is leaf. Hence, leaves are called as the food factories of the plant. Listen to it, because the leaves play a very important role in the preparing of food. Okay. Leaves contain one structure that is called stomata, which is surrounded by the guard cells, which helps for the respiration of the plants, because it traps the carbon dioxide air which we exhale out. Listen, we exhale carbon dioxide and we inhale oxygen. But the plants during the daytime, they exhales the oxygen and inhales the carbon dioxide. stomata which is covered by the guard cells. It is an pore actually. It is an pore which traps the carbon dioxide air which we exhale out. And then now using this air and the chlorophyll is a pigment which is present in the leaf. Hence the leaves look in greeny appearance. Listen to it. This is help for the trapping of sunlight, that is the light energy, solar energy. This chlorophyll helps in the trapping of sunlight energy. Using these two materials, that is carbon dioxide which is produced from the, which is trapped from this stomata pore, and using this chlorophyll, the sunlight will be carried out. Sunlight, the solar energy will be carried out. Using those two materials, that is sunlight and the carbon dioxide, the plants will prepare their food. How? I will represent this preparation of food by this equation, that is when the carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight, that is chlorophyll helps to trap the sunlight, gives rise to carbohydrate and oxygen is evaporated here. This sign indicates the evaporation of oxygen. That oxygen we inhale. Listen to it. This carbon dioxide, this carbohydrate is the food or the nutrition for the plant. Listen to it. Hence, these plants are called autotrophs in nature. Autotrophs because they can prepare their own food using the environmental abiotic factors. That is sunlight and the carbon dioxide which we exhale out. Those two are the abiotic factors. Using those two, the plants will prepare the food. Those are called autotrophs. Hence, the plants are called autotrophs. Okay, and then now going with the heterotrophs. Some plants are heterotrophs in nature. Listen to it. Heterotrophs means the plants which depend, the plants are the animals which depend on the other plants for the preparation of food, for their food. Those are called as heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means the plants and animals which depend on the other plants for their food are called as heterotrophs. For example, I will give that is cascata plant. Okay, cascata is a plant. It doesn't contain the chlorophyll pigment to trap the light energy. Hence, it depends on the other greeny plant to obtain its fruit from that plant. Okay, hence that plant is called host because it is living on that plant. Hence, that plant is called host. And cascata here is parasite. We call this cascata as parasite because it deprives the valuable nutrients which are produced by that green plant. Listen to it. Because it drains that nutrients from that plant which is prepared for itself, it drains. Hence, it is called as parasite. Okay. It is an example for heterotrophs. Okay. And then now coming with the saprotrophs. Saprotrophs means the foods, the living organisms which get the nutrient from dead and decaying matter. The food is obtained from, they obtain the food from dead and decaying matter. Those are called as saprotrophs. Example here is I will take example as fungi. Listen to it. Fungi which feeds on the blood mold, the decaying blood mold. It takes the nutrient from the blood mold. Hence, that it is depending on that is decaying matter. The fungi is dependent on here that is decaying matter. Hence, those are called saprotrophs. Okay. Now coming to the last term, that is symbiosis. Some different organisms living together. This relationship, different organisms living together. This relationship is called as symbiosis. Okay. And the example here is I am taking lichens. Lichens is the example for this symbiosis. Lichens are the fungal and algal association called as lichens. Algae which provides the food for the fungi and fungi in return provide the shelter for the alga. Listen to it. These two are living together, which is in the relationship called symbiosis. Okay. I left one term, that is photosynthesis. Here, photosynthesis is done by autotrophic plants. Listen to it. Photo means light. Synthesis means preparation of food. Listen to it. Preparation of food by using the photo, that is light, is called as photosynthesis. Okay. And then another one example for heterotrophs is a pitcher plant. It is also called as insectivorous plant. Pitcher plant. Okay. Because it is having a jug-like structure which is secreted with many juices. It is used to trap the insect over it. Okay. It is trapping the insect through that jug-like structure, and it is killed by the juices secreted by this plant. Okay. It is the jug is modified shoot apex. Okay. Thus plants also. Those are some plants which are dependent on the other insect for their food. Those are called insectivorous plants. I am giving the example for insectivorous plant is this picture plant. Okay. This concludes your chapter, that is nutrition in plants.
Okay.
Yes. Good morning, students. Let us today we discuss about the first chapter, that is integers. Okay, in that first one, that is natural numbers. Natural numbers are the counting numbers are called natural numbers, or the numbers begins from one are called natural numbers. The natural numbers can be represented by capital N, and this can be written as n is equal to flower bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. Okay. Next, that is whole number. Whole number means the natural numbers including 0 are called whole numbers. The whole numbers can be written by represented by capital W, and this can be written as W is equal to flower bracket 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Next one, that is integers. Okay. See, integers means both positive and negative numbers including 0 are called integers. Okay. Both positive and negative numbers including 0 are called integers, and the integers can be represented by capital letter Z. Okay. This can be written as Z is equal to flower bracket from middle 0, right side positive number, we have to write positive number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and left side we write negative number -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. Okay. Next, the properties of addition and subtraction of integers. In that first one, that is closure and addition. Okay. Let us take one example. Let us take two whole numbers like 17 plus 23. Okay. If we have these two numbers, we get 40. 40 is an integer. Is it right? Similarly, see 19 plus minus 25. Okay. See, if you simplify this number, see, write 19 as it is. Plus into minus, that is 25. Okay. See, here the 25 is the biggest number. Okay. So that's why you have to subtract this number. See, 25 minus 19, that is minus 6. Okay. Result is an integer. Is it right? So that's why integers are closed under addition. Okay. So for any two integers a and b, a plus b is an integer. Okay. Next one, that is closure under subtraction. Okay. See, let us take one example. 7 and 9. Okay. Subtract. If you subtract this number, we get -2. The result is an integer. -2 is an integer. Is it right? Similarly, let us take one more example. 17 minus of -21. That is 17 minus into minus. That is plus. Is it right? 17 plus 21. That is 38. 38 is an integer. Means a and b are any two integer. A minus b is also an integer. Is it right? Next, that is commutative property. Okay. Let us take one example. 5 and -6. Okay. See, 5, if you have this number 5 plus of -6, that is -1. If you change the order, see, if you change the order, see, -6 plus 5, that is -1. Means if you change the order, we get the same result. Means addition is commutative. That is a plus b can be written as b plus a. Addition is commutative. Okay. Here one important note is there. See, let us take two numbers, 5 and -3. Okay. If you subtract this number, we get 8. See, write 5 as it is. Minus into minus, that is plus 3. Okay. 5 plus 3 is 8. See, if you change the order, -3 and -5, we get -8. Is it right? You see, here result is not same. Is it right? Here is distinct. Very. So that's why a plus b is not equal to b plus a. Is it right? So a plus b is not equal to b plus a. Therefore, subtraction is not commutative. Okay. Subtraction is not commutative for integers. Okay. Next, associative property. Let us take one example. A value 3, b value 4, and c value 5. Okay. See, write 3 as it is plus put the bracket for second and third term. Okay. That is 4 plus 5 is equal to put the bracket for first and second term. That is 3 plus 4 plus 5. Write as it is third term. See, 3 plus 5 plus 4 is 9 is equal to 3 plus 4 is 7 plus write 5 as it is. Okay. If you simplify this one, 3 plus 9 is 12 and 7 plus 5 is 12. Means LHS equal to RHS. Means a plus of b plus c is equal to A plus B plus C. Is it right? Means associative law is holds good. And next one is additive identity. Okay. See, 8 plus 0 is 8. Minus 37 plus 0 is minus 37. Means when we add 0 to any whole number, if we add 0 to any whole number, we get the same whole number. Is it right? See, if we add 0 to any whole number, we get that number itself only. Means a plus, this can be written as a plus 0 is equal to a. Means a means whole number. If we add 0 to that number, we get that whole number only. Okay. Next, multiplication of integers. In that, first one is multiplication of positive and negative integer. See, multiplication of positive and negative integer. Okay. See, let us take one example. Minus 2 and plus 9. Okay. See, minus into plus, that is minus. 9 into the 18. Means while multiplying a positive integer and negative integer, we multiply them by whole numbers and put a minus sign before the product. Okay. We put the minus sign before the product. Okay. Next, second one is multiplication of two negative integers. See, minus 3 is a negative number, a negative integer. Minus 7 is also negative integer. If you multiply these two negative integers, minus 3 into minus 7. See, minus into minus plus. 3 7 is 21. Okay. Next, properties of multiplication of integers. In that, first one, closure under multiplication. See, first one, let us take any two integers a and b. Let's take the value of a minus 20 and b minus 5. If you multiply these two integers, minus into minus plus 25 is 100. We get 100 is an integer. Means commutative, means it shows that multiplication is commutative. Next, commutative of multiplication. In that, see, let us take value a value 3 and b value minus 4. If you change the order, we get the same result. See, 3 into minus 4, that is minus 12. Minus 4 into 3, minus into plus, minus, that is 4 3 is 12. If you change the order, we get the same result. Means a into b can be written as b into a. Next, multiplication by 0. See, let us take one example. 3 into 0, that is 0. Minus 5 into 0, that is 0. Means the product of a negative integer. See, the product of a negative integer and 0. The product of a negative integer and 0 is 0. Okay. If you multiply any integer by 0, we get 0 itself only. Okay. Next, that is multiplication identity. See, let us take one example. Minus 3 into 1, that is minus 3. Plus 16 into 1, that is 16. Means 1 is the multiplicative identity. This can be written as a into 1 is equal to 1 into a is equal to a. Okay. Next, associative property. Let us take one example. A value 3, b value 2 and c value 5. Okay. Put the bracket for first two numbers and write third number as it is equal to first number write as it is, and put the bracket for second and third number. Okay. See, if you simplify this one, 3 2s are 6 into write 5 as it is, write 3 as it is, into 3 5s are 10. Okay, that is LHS. We get 6 5s are 30. That is equal to right side 10 3s are 30. Means LHS equal to RHS. Means associative holds good. Associative law holds good. Next, distributive property. Okay, see, distributive property is also holds good. Next, division of integers. In that, a divided by minus b is equal to minus a divided by b. Here one condition is there, b is not equal to 0. Similarly, minus a divided by minus b is equal to minus get cancelled. We left a divided by b, and here also one condition is there, b is not equal to 0. Okay, thank you.